Hi, this is about EventTracker 9, our major release. It's smart, it's beautiful, and it's fast. My name is Ananth, and I'm the CEO of EventTracker, and I've been involved with it from version 1.0. This is a major release, and it encapsulates about 18 months of work. We've focused relentlessly on our primary users, the security analyst that is concerned with the security posture of the enterprise, and the compliance auditor that must answer to maybe a compliance regulation. If your focus is security, then EventTracker 9 makes it easier for junior analysts to deliver value because of the intelligence that's built directly into the product. If you're a senior analyst, you're going to love the super fast data store and indexing because you can now leap tall buildings with a single bound. For those of you that are focused on compliance and the auditing standards, the built-in reports, dashboards for PCI DSS, for the NIST 800-171, and a dozen other standards makes it easy. The executive summary allows you to demonstrate quickly to an auditor the fact that we've been compliant. And did I say that it was beautiful? I meant it. The UI, the user interface, is sleek and modern, and the user experience makes it a breeze. There have been changes under the hood too. Principally, the data store has switched from being a relational database to being based on Elasticsearch. This is a horizontally scalable enterprise-grade search and analytics engine. It allows the analyst to discover the expected and uncover the unexpected. Security folks follow hunches. You can do that at scale. You can be curious and ask your data all sorts of questions. You can also step back and understand the big picture. And this sets the stage for the next evolution of SIEM, which we expect in years to come. That is SIEM as a utility, the ability to digest data from IoT devices, from the devices around the network, and very large data sets. Another improvement under the hood is the common indexing model. This solves the Tower of Babel problem with log data. What is that problem, you say? Well, it is that every vendor has their own terminology and format for logging. It makes understanding these logs in context somewhat difficult. By having a common set of objects across all vendors, it makes it a whole lot easier. In technical terms, this is called early binding, and this is an addition to the EventTracker family. We always had late binding, that is to say, receive now, index later, understand later. But now in some cases where the objects are understood, you can also have early binding. And this has the benefit of making the user interface fast, really fast. It also enables us to write reports and dashboards and other kinds of output just once without regard to the device and the terminology and format that the vendor might have enforced. Last but not the least, under the hood is a tight integration with the intrusion detection system, the vulnerability scanner, and the honeypot that are included as part of Symphonic, our award-winning SIEM as a service. Let's take a look at EventTracker 9. Here's the EventTracker homepage. This has been redesigned to be responsive. What that means is it occupies the full screen no matter the size of the screen. Whether it's an 8-inch tablet or a 65-inch TV, this thing will maintain its aspect ratio. All of the menu items have been hidden in order to allow the screen to have the maximum available space. You can pin the menu items if you so desire or dismiss them. Aside of the logo, there are some menu items at the top and an ability to personalize this, including inserting your own photo. And then you have the title and then the breadcrumbs to show you where you are in the website. The next set of tiles are known as FAQ tiles. These are live tiles, that is, they're being refreshed with data underneath, and they are clickable. These are also highly configurable. You can make them anything you like. Below these FAQ or fact tiles are the dashlets, and you'll see various kinds of dashlets. This is a map showing you attackers from outside the company that are working with assets that are on the inside. This is news coming from the web page. Here is a trend of incidents. Here are the targets of those attacks sorted as a table. This is malware that we think hasn't run yet, is sitting around waiting for an opportunity to do so. These are endpoint threats, unknown processes running against endpoints as part of our endpoint threat detection framework. You saw that some systems were not reporting what are they and sort them in the value of asset. And of course, cases. As you go through EventTracker, you can open cases, add them to the casebook, and add different things to it. All of these are actually clickable, and you can get to the details underneath. Available in version 9 is a feature called My Dashboards from the menu, and this allows you to create tabs and add dashlets of different sorts. For example, here's one based on Windows, and now you can do different kinds of dashlets. For instance, here are Windows account lockouts, and this can be based on Lucene queries. As you can see right here, this is the Lucene query, and they support a variety of chart types. In this example, we're doing a stacked column, but you could choose any one of these, including a tabular form as well as a meter gauge. Once they're added, you can decide as to location by simply dragging and dropping, as you saw in an earlier screen. Dashlets can be added to different sorts of tabs, and they're usually grouped. Notice here, these are a group of dashlets associated with the EventTracker intrusion detection solution. And of course, by clicking on any of these points, you're actually going to get drilled down. So here are indicators of compromise, and by clicking on this, you'll actually get to see those details using Elasticsearch. Here's an example, where something has come from the intrusion detection system, and it's a suspicious DNS query. Other kinds of dashlets are available, usually grouped. For instance, here is a set of dashlets pulling data from Office 365. Here is data coming from a Cisco ASA, and here's a meter gauge showing the performance statistics of a disk under Linux. For the compliance-focused folks in the audience, there is a new compliance page that's available. This includes incidents that might have occurred that are relevant to our compliance posture, as well as reports that may have run on a scheduled basis. But new in EventTracker 9 is the ability to add tabs. And in this example, we've added a tab for PCI DSS. And once you've done that, you can add dashlets, again based on either Elasticsearch or based on the traditional Event Vault Explorer model, that satisfy the different requirements of PCI DSS. For example, section 10.2 says that you should implement automated audit trails. And since this company happens to choose Cisco ASA and Windows, why then authentication success, if they occur on either of these, is something of interest. Section 6.2 says that we should ensure that all system components and software are protected and updated. So here is a dashlet showing the update or the patch that has been applied to the different software components in the scope of interest. Here is a process to identify security vulnerabilities. Coming from our tight integration with the vulnerability assessment system, here is a collection of vulnerabilities by name and sorted by the machine that they came in on. Limit repeated access attempts, and so on down the line. You can do one for the NIST 800-171, and here are some examples coming from that. For instance, section 3.4.9 specifically states that control and monitor user installed software. And so we can see that we're making note of what sort of software is installed. In addition to this, of course, the traditional reports that are available to you, and a wide variety is available. Here is the collection of PCI DSS. Here then is the collection for the 800-171, and these can be scheduled and run in order to satisfy compliance as always. Once they've run, just like in version 8, they can be reviewed, and having been reviewed, they can be annotated. So writing a note saying that you've reviewed this and all is okay allows you to demonstrate compliance quickly. Notice the note has been appended to the report and has been auto-signed and auto-dated. And this cannot be modified. So this is a good way to do an audit trail that allows you to see quickly that not only have you run the necessary reports, but you also reviewed them from an audit standpoint. EventTracker 9 allows you to personalize the interface. By going on to the view profile, you can change the photo associated with your image, your logos, the time zone that you're normally in, and what the page should be when you land. In other words, when you finally finish logging in, where should you be? If you happen to have administrative privileges, you can do this for every user in the system, setting their names, their photos, their images, and their landing pages, their time zones, and so on. New in version 9 is a completely revamped search interface. If you're going to leap tall buildings in a single bound, why then Elasticsearch underneath allows you to do this. Data is extracted from archives and indexed using the SIEM, or the Common Indexing Model, and made available in Elasticsearch for extremely fast response. You can either choose to query that Elasticsearch directly using Lucene queries like this one, if you happen to be familiar with the Lucene language, or you can use this UI in order to have a Lucene query be constructed. Here is the CIN, and you can use any of these. For instance, if the source IP address contained a particular IP, say for example this, then you could decide that that is the query you want to do, and you can control the time frame, say for instance the last 1 day, or a relative time frame over the last so many, or an absolute time frame. You can also control the targets, what were the places that the data should have actually come from. I'm going to do this quickly for, say for example, the last 1 day for any and every kind of log. And having done this, you can see how quickly the response arrives. The results are displayed in 3 sections. At the top are a set of metrics associated with the results. Right? In the middle is a timeline, and this is drillable, and you can see how many of these events have occurred, and one segment equals 1 hour. If you were to click on any one particular segment, then one segment would become actually 1 minute, and your results are suitably drilled down. Looking at the actual results themselves, you can see that it's sorted into 2 parts. Here are the interesting fields, and this is what the CIM is talking about. This is all sorted on the basis of CIM. For example, these are the application names, these are the event IDs that are available, these are the log sources where the data has really come from. These are the source IP addresses, all normalized and mapped here, and you can choose any of these. For instance, if we were interested in only Office 365 Exchange administrators, why then you could do a filter, and this is all you're going to see is Office 365 Exchange administrators. All of the metrics will adjust themselves to keep track of it. You can decide that you can go back and hop yourself back in time. You can decide that you want to do some other kind of thing, like for instance look at all Office 365 related tasks, and then you can go back laterally. So this kind of interface, with its parsing into the Common Indexing Model, the ability to filter, the ability to pivot, the ability to look at the Lucene query, to save that Lucene query as a saved search, or maybe to make a dashboard out of it or send it into a case, either a new one or an existing one. The ability to change the time frame right away. We picked last 1 day. We want to see the same data over the last 2 days. You can do that very, very quickly. So these are all benefits of the new UI, and for an advanced security analyst, this allows them to be very effective and very fast in investigating. EventTracker 9 brings information about the attackers and the targets that they're attacking front and center. Right on the home page is a world map that shows you all of the attackers that are somehow communicating with assets inside the enterprise. These are folks on the outside that have poor reputation according to the selected threat intelligence provider. For example, here is an attacker out in Karachi, Pakistan, and clicking on it allows me to see rapidly that he's interacting with Contoso Workstation 2 and get more details as to the ISP location, as to his reverse DNS, and then allow lookup in a variety of threat intelligence or bad IP databases to identify what specifically this person might be doing. Notice that he is being communicated on port 80. Notice that he's already on a block list known to a provider by the name of Borderware. So back to the home page, you can see them from the basis of the who is attacking, but also more interestingly, what targets inside the company are being attacked. After all, we're less concerned about who's attacking, and we're much more concerned about what they're attacking inside our enterprise and what might be the port, that is the method of the attack. As a defender, that's of key interest to us. You can get to all of this via the threats page, and you can see here the same map is shown along with the variety, and down below you'll see the targets as well as the port details. You can sort this not on the basis of attackers, but maybe on the basis of targets. So here's Contoso Workstation 2, and it's being attacked by this fellow out in Pakistan. If I looked at my Exchange server, why then you can see that the same thing has occurred there, and this attacker has been visible there as well. So you can do this, very quickly. All of these can be exported. All of this can be added to a logbook. Also, as part of threats, are processes. This is our endpoint threat detection feature. This was available in version 8. The design of the screens have changed in version 9. And you can see specifically what the unknown executables are, what their parent process is, Firefox in this case, what the machine is on which they were running, as well as who is the user, right? So all of this detail is available to you. This was running on Contoso Workstation 2. The username was Julian. The parent process was Firefox, and this is an exe, but really it masquerades as a PDF. Notice the immediate lookups available to all the different threat intelligence sources, including VirusTotal. This next tab shows you those exes that have been detected by the change audit solution, but then haven't actually executed. And this is possibly dormant malware. This is a feature that we have, an attack pattern that we have observed recently, where malware clones itself. And having cloned itself, why then it looks to operate or execute at a delayed time, hoping to avoid detection. So all of these are available as part of the new threats screens in EventTracker 9. In conclusion, EventTracker 9 is smart. It's smart because of the built-in intelligence. It allows a junior analyst to provide value quickly. It gives you really fast time to value. Time to value is critical. From the moment you decide this is something you're interested in, to the time to when you're getting meaningful results. This can be weeks, it can be months even in many SIEM solutions. It can be reduced to a matter of days or hours with EventTracker 9. The common indexing model solves the Tower of Babel problem. In spite of having disparate log sources, there is a common method of objects, and you can do dashboards and reports quickly and easily. This allows analysts to be more efficient. It allows data to be more precise. The new integrations with intrusion detection, the vulnerability scanner, and the HoneyNet, all of which are available as part of our Symphonic SIEM as a service, allows us to be smarter. Analysts can now pivot from different types of log data and intelligence sources in order to reach conclusions faster. EventTracker 9 is beautiful. Did you see that modern UI? It's sleek. The user interface and the user experience has been carefully thought out. And this scales very nicely because of responsive design. Whether you have an 8-inch tablet or a 65-inch TV screen, EventTracker V9 looks beautiful. And of course, EventTracker is fast, really fast. You can do incisive search against large data sets. You can quickly pivot. You can move forward, backward, and laterally, which is necessary if you're investigating a security incident. Of course, the thousands of saved searches that are available makes life easy for both the experienced as well as the junior analyst. Thank you for your attention.